الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. The Nikah announcement which I am about to make is arranged, this Nikah is arranged between our young new Ahmadi Muslim, Mackenzie, who is named after Islam, Yahya, and Najma Nauheed, daughter of Hafizur Rahman Sahib of Glasgow, of Edinburgh. Although for the last many years, non-family members or non-waqifin, I have yet deviated from this custom for one particular reason. And in future, I intend to make this the new custom. This advice to the Khulafa was rendered by some experienced lawyers in Pakistan who according to certain rules and regulations in the country, advised the Khalifa of the time to cease announcing the nikahs of non-family members in particular, because there were some fears of Khulafa being dragged into courts in case a marriage was not successful, and in case one of the parties was not devout enough to spare the Khalifa that unnecessary involvement. Whether the fears were right or wrongly based, that is not the question. I think why this advice was readily accepted had an additional reason. Because of the growing number of the Ahmadis, with the grace of Allah, so also rose the number of nikahs to be performed. And particularly during jalsas, etc., the list grew into such a lengthy list that sometimes it took an hour for just the list to be read out. So because a Khalifa is already overburdened, or I shouldn't say overburdened, but rightly burdened and he has no spare moments for these optional activities. So I think it was a time rendered in time, an advice rendered in time, and was very readily and thankfully accepted. So I have also stuck to this, despite the fact that in England there is no such problem. And I continue to stick to this new tradition, except in some cases. That is the cases of those Ahmadis who have joined Islam from Christianity or other religions, and who have a sort of severing of ties with their past, whose parents are no longer patronizing them, at least in religious ceremonies like these. They have nothing to do with them. So a Khalifa has to act like such new converts' parents, and that is generally an accepted responsibility of Khilafat throughout the past ages. All the fuqaha are agreed on this issue, that any Muslim who has no patrons, no wali, the Khalifa of the time automatically becomes his wali. So as such I have accepted this, and I am explaining it to you because I want to remove any misunderstanding in the mind of Mr. Hafizur Rahman that I am doing it for his sake. It has a background. He wrote to me a very long and very interesting letter trying to prove the case for himself that I should make a special exception in his case. And because he has a good command over his language, very good writer, and because he has a very long history of personal association with me in many respects, so he thought he would be able to work me into it. A long trap was laid. He started with conjuring up the memories of the early childhood when we went to school together, and sometimes I had the blessing of sitting next to him, and I didn't realize at that time that he was spying on me. But this letter revealed that he was all the time because he disclosed certain things which flabbergasted me. I couldn't believe that all the time he was conscious of what I was doing, but looking askance at me, he was all the time noting them and preserving those events in his memory. So he started with that, and at every turn he reminded me that now, what better right could one have on your time, and how anyone else could deserve more than I do that you perform the nikah of my daughter. So then he went on building the case until the partition, and didn't stop it at that either. Went across to Pakistan and started reminding me of all the time when we worked together in Khudamul Ahmadiyya. He as my secretary sometimes financial secretary and so on. And of course he was a very good secretary throughout, and I was very happy and contented with the tasks he performed. So he kept reminding me of that as well. Nothing worked. The last trap was the one in which I was trapped, and that was the mention of Mackenzie, and said, anyway, if nothing else works on you, at least you should think of this. This boy is almost fatherless now. He has joined Islam and severed his relation with his past. So what of these people? They deserve to be treated specially and kindly. So I agreed. So that is why I am doing it, and in future, inshallah, I will do it in every other case which is similar. Allah bless this union, because I know, as far as I know, Mr. Yahya Mackenzie, I have found him to be a very devout person, very, very devout Muslim, who, right from the word go, when he joined Ahmadiyyat, started making rapid progress in every direction. So within a matter of a year or so, he was no longer recognizable as a new convert, as if Ahmadiyyat had sunken deep into him, as if he had grown out of Ahmadiyyat. That was the impression he created. And when I look at him from that point of view, I don't think I have to perform the nikah of a new convert. He no longer is a new convert, He's as if he's a born Ahmadi. But anyway, that is just by way of reminding you that he especially deserves your prayers. And with the grace of Allah, I am looking forward to a very bright future regarding his personal activities in the service of Islam, and regarding his married life as well, inshallah. I hope they will give birth to, very soon I hope, a child which they can offer by way of dedication for the new century of Islam, which is going to dawn upon us very soon. And many, many more, inshallah. And I hope also that members of his family also start joining Islam, and he's already working on them with some hope, I understand. But whether the members of the family respond well or not, I hope, inshallah, in Scotland, he will gain many converts. So let's join in prayers, but let me first announce the ceremony formally. I ask first of all Mr. Hafizur Rahman, the father of Najma Nauheed, of 48 Barberton Mains Wood, Edinburgh, if he agrees to give the hand of his daughter in marriage to Mr. Yahya Mackenzie of 9 Grindley Street, Edinburgh, his son of Mr. L.D.M. Mackenzie. If he agrees with this marriage, he should stand up and give his consent, please. Just a moment, the dowry is agreed to be 7,000 sterling. Thank you. Now, Mr. Yahya, it's your turn to give your consent. Do you agree to your marriage with Miss Najma Nauheed? Is it Nauheed? Yes, I'm sorry, it's not Nauheed, Nauheed. The daughter of Hafizur Rahman Sahib of 48 Barberton Mains Wood, Edinburgh, as your lawful wife at the dowry of 7,000 sterling, please. Thank you. Allah bless you. Now let's join in prayer for this marriage to be successful in every respect. आमीन। साइन कहाँ करने हैं? यही काम है। Assalamu alaikum.